Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of You're Wrong, and I'm Always Right. And today we are going to be busting one of the most pervasive motorcycle myths. Loud pipes save lives, and this one is particularly personal for me because I ride an electric motorcycle. And when I'm not hearing that...
That's not a real motorcycle, that's an electric scooter. You see, my time I don't need your wheel because you run 10 kids. I don't care if your bed's more fat or more powerful than mine, but it's an electric scooter because you
I'll constantly hear from other motorcyclists or even just random people who don't even ride bikes that my electric motorcycle is dangerous because it is quiet. Again, this pervasive myth that loud pipes save lives means that my electric bike being quiet is more dangerous than traditional motorcycles. And I have a number of issues with this stupid idea. First of which is, you shouldn't be relying on other people for your safety. Instead of, using safe driving practices and having a good awareness of your surroundings to avoid a collision, no, let's go vroom, vroom, vroom. Loud noises save us, right? Do we use that kind of logic in any other circumstance?
Hi there, kids! My name is Leopold the Rabbit, and I'm gonna teach all of you how to cross the road safely. Now, crossing the road is real dangerous, so what you want to do is make sure you let out lots of big screams so cars can hear you coming and they're less likely to run you over. So say it with me, kids. We're gonna cross the road right now. Ah! 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 See that, kids? We crossed the road safely, and it's all due to screaming.
Leopold, you silly rabbit, screaming and making loud noises won't protect you on the road, and that's true whether you're a pedestrian crossing the street or a motorcyclist. You should be teaching kids about proper safety measures like wearing appropriate clothing and being aware of your surroundings.
Well, wait a second. How do you know that screaming doesn't make it safer to cross the road?
Well, Theodore, I actually have research on my side.
Oh boy, I love research and learning, and my name's Leopold, not Theodore.
Yeah, sure, whatever. So the first piece of data we'll be looking at is the motorcycle accident cause factors and identification countermeasures, also known as the Hurt Report, named after the study's author, Professor Harry Hurt. And there's a few interesting pieces of data in the study. First off, if you scroll down to page 421, the study mentions modified exhaust systems, which are typically louder than the standard factory-installed exhaust systems that a bike comes with. The modified exhaust system was typical of many accident-involved motorcycles, and also typical of many motorcycles observed during exposure data collection. The modified exhaust is overrepresented in these data, but not with high significance. To be sure, the number of custom exhaust systems made for motorcycles during these recent years has increased, hence the exposure data collected some long time after accident data are likely to show more exhaust modifications than the time of the accident occurrence. Now, this is the only study I've ever seen that found any correlation at all between motorcycle noise and risk of accident, and according to the study, motorcycles that are louder that have a modified exhaust are actually more likely to be found at the scene of an accident. Now, the authors did mention that this is likely just due to widespread use of these modifications, so it's not like a modified exhaust is going to increase your accident risk. It's just that, so many people are using these modifications that it's only natural that you'll find so many of these bikes with a modified exhaust getting into accidents. But this isn't looking good for the loud pipe save lives argument because, again, this is the only study that found any correlation at all between motorcycle noise and risk of accident, and they found no protective effect of having a louder bike. What's also interesting about the study was that 2/3 of the accidents occurred at intersections where motorcyclists are typically going to be hit from the front of the bike, and the more recent MAID study out of Europe also had similar findings where the majority of motorcycle collisions occur at the front of the bike. So sound wouldn't even be able to help you in the most common types of accidents, Also note that in both of these papers, the authors found that conspicuity, the ability of other drivers to see the motorcyclist, is a critical element of safety, and the use of bright headlamps, even in daylight hours, and wearing high visibility clothing contributes greatly to reducing the chances of being in a motorcycle accident. Again, none of the authors found any evidence for or recommended riding a louder motorcycle as a safety precaution. So to recap, there is absolutely no research suggesting that louder motorcycles are safer. The two largest motorcycle safety studies in North America and Europe found no protective benefit of louder motorcycles, and in this research, they did in fact find that improving your visibility on the road, making it easier for other drivers to see you, that does have a protective benefit. Those measures do reduce your risk of getting into an accident, whereas increasing your noise output doesn't seem to do anything. There is nothing in these sets of data that would suggest increasing your noise output would make you safer on the road, and none of the study authors even recommend increasing your noise output as a safety measure. And even if we could entertain the idea that, okay, maybe in certain circumstances having a louder bike would reduce your chances of getting into an accident, in certain circumstances, well, again, if you look at this research, in the vast majority of accidents, increasing your noise output would do absolutely nothing.
Well, wait a second. Just because in this research louder noises didn't protect the motorcyclist, that doesn't mean loud pipes don't save lives. Maybe in some circumstances, loud motorcycles can help.
Well, Leopold, again, there is some research suggesting that having a louder bike might actually increase your risk of getting into an accident.
Oh boy, more research? I can't wait to read more.
So for one thing, there is research demonstrating that background noise can reduce spatial attention and prolong reaction time. Now, of course, the study didn't involve motorcycles, but if even low-level background noise can reduce reaction time in the study, then I think we can assume to some degree that a very loud, rumbling motorcycle could potentially negatively impact spatial attention and reaction time, making it more likely that you could get into an accident on the road. Secondly, you also have to consider the Doppler effect. The Doppler effect is the change in the frequency of a wave caused by the relative motion between the source of the wave and the observer. So a motorcycle is going to sound a lot different coming towards you than going away from you, and this effect might confuse a driver into thinking that you're much further away from them than you really are if auditory information is the only thing they have to go on. You also have to consider that a lot of cars are very well insulated from outside noise. So again, if they can't hear you that well to begin with, and the Doppler effect combined, this can make them make a poor judgment if they don't see you and all they can do is hear you. So again, we have another situation where a loud bike might actually increase your risk of getting into an accident, where it reduces your spatial attention, it reduces your reaction time, it might make drivers miscalculate the distance you are from their vehicle, or at best, other cars just won't hear you on the road because they're so well insulated from outside noise, meaning that, again, loud pipes do nothing.
And after this light, he slows down quite a bit, so he's lost, something's happening, and so I'm like, well, might as well go around him. What the
So I just wanted to play this clip to give you an example of loud pipes not preventing an accident, and I would call this an ideal scenario where a loud motorcycle would have the best potential at preventing an accident. So as you could see from the clip, the motorcyclist was very close to the driver almost the entire time. The driver even had his window open, making it especially easy for him to hear the motorcyclist. They were also the only two drivers on the road, so again, making it very easy for the driver to hear the motorcyclist. And the motorcycle he was riding was a Triumph Speed Triple, which is a 1000cc, 140 horsepower bike, so it makes some noise, and as you could see, the noise the bike produced did nothing. The driver just didn't see him, didn't hear him, was distracted by the GPS. So sound doesn't really do as much as you think it would. And with all that said, I think the reason this is such a hotly contested topic is because there are so many riders with their own personal anecdotes and stories of them avoiding an accident because of their loud bike. They were riding a Harley and they were able to rev their engine loud enough to alert another driver next to them who was about to run them off the road. And what I would say to that is these are just personal anecdotes. This is not a valid form of evidence. And again, if you look at the larger scope of data, according to the largest motorcycle safety studies in the world, there is no protective benefit with louder bikes. And there is some indirect evidence suggesting that a louder bike might actually be more dangerous for you. So, I'll be reasonable and I can say that in certain circumstances, yeah, probably a loud bike might have prevented a few accidents. But does that mean louder bikes are safer? Does that mean overall your risk of getting into an accident on a louder bike is reduced? No, not necessarily. Again, I provided better evidence than personal anecdote. I provided actual scientific research suggesting that a louder vehicle might actually be more dangerous for you overall. And again, there are very few circumstances where a loud bike would even be of any benefit to you in the first place. So with all of that taken into consideration, I'm going to call this myth busted. Loud pipes do not save lives. Stop telling me this every time I make a motovlog on my electric bike. I'm sick of hearing it. It's a myth. It's not true. Don't make me get out my rabbit again. Also, most of the information I shared in this video is taken from CanadaMotoGuide.com, and I'll leave the related article and all the information in the description down below if you care to read. And if you like this video, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon or through my website. I have some funding perks you may find interesting. If you're looking for vegan apparel, then check out the Vegan Gains store. And if you're looking for online coaching, then check out Quality Gains. You can get 10% off by using the discount code VG10. And as always, keep making those vegan and electric, quiet motorcycle gains.
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and